We were talking a little bit about traveling earlier, and right now we're going to check in with the faithful traveler via Skype. Diana is familiar to Catholic TV from her series, The Faithful Traveler, exploring shrines and places of pilgrimage around the world and bringing their television audience with them. And Diana, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you are featured, you probably know this, on the Catholic TV monthly cover. We're honored to continue airing Faithful Traveler. Can you tell us a little bit about where your love for travel and sacred travel came to be and how that all started?
Well, I grew up in San Diego, where we have the first of the California missions, and just grew up hearing stories of saints. And as I started traveling for school and then afterwards, I just always kind of gravitated to Catholic churches because that was where home was, and I felt comfortable there. And then you start seeing some amazing things like, beautiful architecture and art, and hearing stories of new saints that you've never heard. And it just kind of, I got the travel bug after that.
Now, I was mentioning a few moments ago how on all of people's screens they can make a virtual pilgrimage to World Youth Day. And I know that television or internet doesn't provide a real pilgrimage, but it does offer an opportunity to be kind of an easy chair pilgrim.
Yeah.
All right. Can you share some of your experiences of putting together this series, recording it, and producing it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we produce The Faithful Travelers, because there are so many people who just simply cannot visit some of these places themselves, whether it be because of financial reasons or health reasons, or they just have a bunch of kids that they're raising and they don't have time to go travel. So what we want to do is just, show them some of the many treasures that we have in the Catholic Church around the world. And I don't think that anyone will ever be able to cover all of the places because, it's just, there are so many places everywhere that are touched by historical, saints or holy lives or, wars or whatever. And so that's kind of why we wanted to create The Faithful Traveler.
And you hear the word pilgrimage a lot, Diana, and maybe if you could get into that too, the differences between being a pilgrim and being a tourist.
Well, of course, being a pilgrim can be a little bit more somber than being a tourist. I like to encourage people to include pilgrimage in their everyday lives, even if it includes part of their vacations and part of the times when they're being a tourist. So my husband and I decided to create The Faithful Traveler when we were on our honeymoon, and we were being tourists in France. But then, we would go see the Eiffel Tower, and then as tourists, and then we would go to the Rue du Bac to see the Chapel of the Miraculous Medal as pilgrims. And so it's just, I think it's just a recognition that, our faith is a part of our everyday lives, even when we're relaxing and having fun. One of the other experiences that we had in France, which was just amazing, was we were visiting some of the chateaux along the Loire Valley, and we happened to enter a chateau that was part of the history of the wars of religion. We were at Blois, which is where the Duc de Guise was murdered. And we were there like 415 years later, on the anniversary of his assassination, which kicked off these huge wars of religion in France. And we were by ourselves, and it was freezing. And it was just so amazing, because I thought, wow, we're being tourists, but this huge historical event in the history of the Catholic Church and in the history of Catholic France happened here on this day 415 years ago. And it was just amazing. So.
And when you mentioned Chateau, for those of us in this local area, that's the place where you go for a good veal parmesan. So we have a different notion of Chateau. Hey, you mentioned your husband. Now, David doesn't just go along with you. Does he actually have something to do with all of this?
David is he is my director. He is also my husband. He is the cameraman. He's the main cameraman. He's in charge of sound, and he's in charge of making sure that I, say things in front of the camera. Because sometimes I get very overwhelmed with everything, and sometimes I just don't feel like getting in front of the camera. And he's like, "Stop and say something." So yeah, he's the boss.
Well, that's really convenient to have a technician, producer, audio expert. And he happens to be your husband, too.
Yeah,
I like how that worked out.
We have a team of 2, so anything he doesn't do, I do.
Now, did you give him an autographed copy of the Catholic TV Monthly by any chance?
As a matter of fact, I did. He was the first person. I said, here's your personal copy. I think it's over in the corner of the room.
Thank you for gracing, literally gracing, the cover of our magazine this month. People really have enjoyed picking up the magazine. They're almost gone.
Oh, well, I'm so honored. I mean, wow. My mom is excited, too.
Well, it's great to have all these experiences and sharing them with our audience, Diana. Where can people learn more about your works, explore the sites that you journey to?
They can visit us online at thefaithfultraveler.com, and soon I'll be sending Catholic TV our next episode on Fatima. So, you know, I'm sure once World Youth Day is over, everybody's going to start getting excited about the 100th anniversary of the apparitions at Fatima. So that'll be great.
Yeah, wow. That's great. Thank you so much for being with us, Diana.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, enjoy the rest of the summer. Tell David we said hello.
Yes.
Okay, bye.